Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here with Rake and Profit, and I'm really excited for this video today because I am talking to David and Hilary, who were previously teachers full-time, and their story is really exciting. They actually transitioned from teaching into starting and creating a successful Amazon business with wholesale. So today we're going to talk about their story. We're going to talk about how did that happen? How did they go from teaching to running a wholesale business? Because a lot of people would scratch their head and be like, that doesn't sound like something people would do, but they did it. They are really successful. They've grown a lot. Their business has really evolved over the years. And today we're going to really just talk about their story. We're going to talk about their specific model of how they do wholesale, because it's a bit different than what a lot of people do with reverse source wholesaling, it's called. And we're just going to go through, how much time it takes, how much time they spend, profit margins, and hopefully to inspire you guys watching to look into wholesale. So what's going on, David and Hilary? What's happening?
Hey, what's
Hello.
up? Glad to be
Glad
here.
to be back.
I know. I think, what did we talk? A year or two ago?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was about a year ago.
We looked it up.
Yeah. Time flies. I was in Miami last time that we talked, and it was really awesome connecting with you. And there was a lot of great comments after that. And I want to bring you back, go through some updates and hear what's going on. But for the people who don't know who you guys are, I told them a little bit about your story. You used to be teachers, but how did you go from teaching to selling wholesale on Amazon and building a successful business? I mean, I would like to personally know how you did it.
Yeah, over time and a lot of hard work. But no, we got started originally selling on Amazon, like a lot of your audience, right? Just flipping, doing RA. And the reason we even started doing that was just to supplement what we were earning in the classroom, right? Like, we had the summers, we had a little bit more time, so I'd spend a little bit of time there. And I was looking for, I think we told the story last time, but I was looking to buy a new car was my plan. So I was like, apparently there's this thing that you can just buy clearance stuff and sell it online. And I was like, well, maybe I can make enough to, do a car payment and cool little side hustle. It's like a free car, right? So that's where we started. And then it sort of evolved and took off from there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I kind of took off. I took on some RA stuff. I took on the business myself full-time first and left the classroom. And from there, we just kind of took a lot of hard work and dedication and like some skills that we kind of already knew how to do, we found the wholesale formula, and going from there kind of transitioned us into a full-time business for both of us.
Yeah. So we sold RA for about 9 months, 8 months, something like that. And then we discovered the wholesale formula, and that was where we sort of made the conscious decision to say, hey, this is we can legitimize, this little side hustle we had going on. And at the time, Hilary was able to kind of start working on the business full time, where I was still in the classroom. And we did that for 2 years, a year, 2 years, where I was still teaching and just kind of helping out, and Hilary was doing the business full time. But once we discovered reverse wholesale sourcing and that model with TWF, we went cold turkey, got rid of RA, went straight into wholesale, and then just let things expand from there. So now we're now we're doing the thing. We're managing over $2.5 million in sales annually on Amazon. So it's definitely a long way from my car payment of $250 I was getting.
Well, that's really interesting. And a lot of people who are watching David and Hilary are doing retail arbitrage, going to thrift stores, retail stores. A lot of my audience are sourcing online from different retail stores, online sources, and selling on eBay and Amazon. And I'm curious, before we get into exactly what reverse source wholesaling is, we're going to dive deep into it and really share exactly how you guys can do it. But what made you get started with TWF? What made you get started with wholesale in general? Because a lot of people, who watch my channel, they've been thrifting, doing RA for 5, 6, 7 years, and they love it. They don't want to move into anything new. Because it's so much fun treasure hunting, right? So what made you want to transition? Was it the time? Was it the money? Was it was just something special?
Well, it was a little bit of both. There was definitely a lot of time going from store to store and ordering online and trying to find that deal that you could flip. But after that, it was more of, what can I do to really to avoid the IP claims? Once you get that very first IP claim and those kinds of things,
It's consistency.
it's and then so you also want to know, well, how can I order this direct from the manufacturer? How can I order so much more and sell it on Amazon? Those kinds of things.
Well,
And then you get into the fact that it is more consistent and you have a standard income that's coming in every single month that you just that's ongoing, as long as you take care of it.
yeah,
So
that consistency was a big piece because it's coming in. Like we were working to replace obviously her income first and then eventually mine. So it shifted the goal from kind of a side hustle to a legitimized full-time thing, right? So once we started getting into looking through wholesale, once you find a product and find a brand to work with, which we'll get into, that it becomes you can predict, right? You're going to order the same or more next month, right? And let it feed upon itself. So it kind of became the return of the time, the return of your investment. If you can grow and invest almost into a company, into a product, into a brand that you're helping, that the returns just kind of keep coming, as opposed to RA where it's like, well, I got to find the next one, and it puts more of the ownership and the research and the scouting process kind of falls back on you a lot, right?
Yeah, that is one of the toughest parts of reselling in general and buying and selling, is finding that source all the time, going out and always visiting stores and the gas money. And sometimes, we go out and we try to find something at a thrift store and the competition beat us there, or, there's just so many different things that come up, and it's the inconsistency. And that's one of the things that I always look for in a business too, is how can I consistently make the same amount of money or more? And that's what always attracted me to wholesale. So what exactly is your guys' model when it comes to wholesale? We keep mentioning the Wholesale Formula TWF. That's a program that a lot of people have gone through, who a lot of the people you guys see on YouTube and successful wholesalers that you see, even David and Hilary, they've gone through the program. So I have some free resources I'll put down below, some blog posts. We have a webinar coming up, so you guys can check that out. But what is this reverse source wholesaling that everybody is doing, at least that are in the TWF?
So basically, we go onto Amazon and we search Amazon for products that sell consistently the same almost every month through a period of time. You don't have a lot of ups and downs. You're not seeing huge, you're seeing upward trends and not downward trends. And you're going on and you're looking at the data on Amazon to try to find a product that you think might fit your criteria. And then you're going and you're actually talking to the brand and working with the brand to develop a partnership to be able to purchase from them and sell under your store name.
Yeah. So as opposed to finding a product and saying, can I find and buy this product as cheaply as possible in order to sell it, you're going the other way and saying, well, what's already selling well, right? And then find the source for that, and then take it a step farther, which is what TWF does, right? So it's not working. The product is actually less important. The relationship with the brand is the most important part, but that's it in a nutshell.
So you're not going through a distributor, because when a lot of people think of wholesale, they think I have to contact a distributor. But the issue with the distributors is a lot of times the margins are a lot less, and there could be a million people selling that product. Am I right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, it makes sense, right? So if I were to, sell you something, I've got to make a profit on that. And then you got to take it and resell it. You've got to make a profit on that. So now you've marked it up twice. Whereas in our model, it's to go directly to the brand itself, so that you avoid that middleman markup. And you're able to, ideally build a relationship enough to get an even better price. And we have a couple clients that we work with where our price is the same as what they're selling it to the distributor. So we're able to sell it for retail, but we're buying it at
less than what they're selling it to the distributor.
A distributor price or less. And so obviously that profit margin that the distributor would normally make, now we make instead. So I mean, that's essentially the model and how it's supposed to work.
And how much money does it typically take for your average person who wants to start wholesale? I mean, do you have to buy 10,000 products? Does somebody have to have $50,000 bankroll to get started? How many do you kind of go after? How many products, and how does that work?
So you want to answer that?
I was going to say, we normally typically recommend about $2,000 for products. Just to kind of get started, just because you want to make sure you have enough in the bank to be able to keep inventory in stock for a month or so. And then we also want to make sure that you also have enough funds to be able, there's ways to do it without, softwares and those kinds of things, but boy, do they make it a lot easier. So you want to make sure you have the funding for that as well.
Yeah, we talk a lot with our beginning students because we do coach within TWF as well. But we talk a lot with the beginning students about runway and being able to afford, I guess, the softwares you need, the course, obviously, but also just making sure you've also set aside enough for product. Now, the good part about this is that once you have, say, 30 days of product, like, you're going to get that back and recoup it plus profits, and you can roll that in and snowball it forward. So it doesn't take as much. You're not trying to spend $10,000. I think $2,000 to $3,000 is enough to get started, depending on the brand. Now, if you're finding a product that sells, $1,000 a piece and it's wholesaling for $500, like, that's not going to be enough, right? But if you're finding something, we recommend products around $20 or higher. So let's just say $20. So you're probably buying it for somewhere around $10 or less, right? So you can look and say, well, how many times is this selling on Amazon every month? Multiply that by, or every day, multiply that by 30 days. That's how much you need. So, it gives you you can almost figure it out based on the price on Amazon as to, like, how much you need to kind of get started.
Now, I have a lot of friends who do wholesale, and what they do is they find brands, really small brands that nobody's ever heard of. And a lot of people don't realize it, but brands are focused on creating their best product. They're product centric. They're trying to create the product. They're just trying to grow their brand, and they're not necessarily the best retailer. They're not the best at creating listings. They don't understand keywords. They don't understand how to sell on Amazon. Similar to how people who are watching now, you guys are expert eBay sellers and doing all right. The average brand doesn't understand how to do this. So what my friends do is they help improve the photographs, the listings, and they optimize the listing. And what's really cool, and I'm not sure if you guys do this, is there could be a product that's only selling 5,000 a month, but once they optimize the photos and the title and the keywords and they make it look good and they get it ranking, that thing goes from 5,000 a month to 20,000 a month to 30,000 a month. And they work with brands and help build them up. And sometimes they get exclusive rights, or they become one of maybe 3 to 5 sellers on it. And as that brand grows, they make more and more money because they're the only ones allowed to sell that. Do you guys do the same thing?
Yes, absolutely. Like, that, I think, is one of the keys to success, right? Being able to build a relationship. But I'm going to tell you a story real quick. Actually, let's talk a little bit about our first brand. And so let me mention this. Right now, any wholesale client we bring into our business is an exclusive. If they don't offer, like, if they're not willing to do an exclusive with our business, we're at the point where we can say, look, we're not going to work with you until we're there. It's a nice place to be in, right? Like, it's super exclusive now, kind of a club to be in.
And what does that mean for people who don't understand? What does exclusive mean?
Exclusive means that they only sell to us. So as an exclusive wholesaler, what we do is we make an agreement with the company that says we're the only ones allowed to sell on Amazon. And we have some back-end processes to kind of enforce that and whatever. But essentially, you guys who are doing RA, if you've gotten a letter, right, that said, hey, you're not allowed to sell this from a lawyer, like, that's kind of, no one likes those unless you're on the other side, right? If you're on the other side of that letter, kind of a nice place to be. So exclusive means that, we did that. And that's where the companies we work with now. Now, that wasn't like that at the beginning. Obviously, like, at the beginning, it was doing what you were talking about, building the relationship to get to the point where it made sense for us to say, hey, here's all this cool stuff we've done to help you. Perhaps we can just be the only ones now that sell the product. But the beginning, talking about building up the value from a small company, our very first wholesale client, they sold 3 things on Amazon. And we talk to our students about this all the time. Like, it's okay to start small, right? Our first client sold 3 units a month, not even one a week. But we use them as sort of a testing ground for ourselves, where we learn to write listings, we learn to do keyword research, we learn to advertise. And like the second month after we optimized their listings and helped them out, they sold 6. And great, like they're not retiring. But what we did was we took that and said, hey, case study, and we told the next person we talked to, said, hey, the first brand we talked to, we doubled their sales.
I love it.
And that company's still not huge. We still work with them though, just because it's fun. They're small and they like chatting with us and stuff. But like our kind of where we kind of moved into like, okay, we can do this full time is exactly what you're talking about. We have a couple brands that started with hundreds of dollars in sales on Amazon that are now doing thousands. One we took from I think $700 to $70,000 a month. Like it was. And
that's just by improving the listings and keywords and advertising and doing everything that you were just talking about. We did all of that for that brand, and it's turned into an exclusive where we can then explain that even more.
Yeah, and we brought on more of their SKUs and whatever, but like we weren't quitting our jobs over a $700 a month account. But the potential of that account, once we maximized what they were able to do on Amazon, they developed into a national brand. You know what I mean? And since we were working with them and they were small, I mean, it really has a lot more weight, right? So now, of course, with $70,000 a month, and we're more than happy to do whatever they need. Like it's a much bigger account. It wasn't like that when we started with them. So
yeah. It's exciting. And, our mutual friend, Emmerich, I actually just interviewed him. That interview should be coming on the channel soon. He built a wholesale account. I believe I don't know if it was just one, but I know he was over $1 million in sales, and he actually sold that wholesale account for $406,000. So he sold that business, and now he actually put in the contract. He was telling me that, he was going to be the one to manage the back end of the business, and he makes 60 to 80,000 a year off of that still. And he just has VAs run the whole thing. And I'm just like, that's the coolest thing about this wholesale business. Is it easy? No. Does it take more capital? Yes. Are there more nuances and things? Do you need more business skills versus RA and OA? I would say 100% yes. But that ability to be able to sell your business, that ability to be able to grow with a brand. I mean, that's why I tell everybody, David and Hilary, like if you're doing RA or you're just flipping little items on eBay or selling books and you're making $1,000 a month, you're learning a valuable skill that will allow you to never be broke again. And if you take those skills, you can turn those into stepping stones to private label, to wholesale. And it's really exciting. Now, I'm curious, how much time do you guys spend, or for someone who's brand new and wants to start wholesale, maybe you could take us back to when you were starting and, you started making your first couple thousand a month from wholesale. How much time does it really require?
It requires as much as you are willing to put into it. And to be truthful, because when we first started, I had the time. So because I had the time, we went straight in cold turkey. We stopped RA and kind of sold out what we had. But I was diving in, 5-6 hours a day. And then he would add a couple more in the evenings. And, but that's because we were trying to grow as quickly as we possibly could. And the faster we were able to, the more time we put into it, the faster that was able to work.
Yeah, it really is about, it starts with your goals, right? Like, do you want a part-time 4-hour work week kind of Tim Ferriss thing? Great. Then make sure that you're working with a VA who can do all the stuff that needs done, right? Mm-hmm. When you're building and just starting out, for us, I would rather learn how to do it myself first. So that's what we did. So we had a lot of time and a lot more time when we were starting, right? But
we didn't have the capital to go straight in with 1 or 2 VAs.
Yeah, you have 2 things, right? You can either you have capital where you can hire someone to do the stuff for you, or you have time, right? So we had more time than capital, so we spent more time. Now, though, I think once the processes are I guess if the goal for us was to build a legit business, right? If your goal is to have a side hustle and make $250 a month for a new car payment, I think it can be done through wholesale. Absolutely. I think it's a different sort of approach. Like you would take an approach of I want to spend as little time and maximize my return, whereas we were trying to build a full-time business to replace two incomes, right? And so we knew so we knew there's going to be the challenges of the things that you read about, the things that you hear about of entrepreneurs going through the trough of sorrow and spending time and hustling, right? Like I would work full time. And I was a band director, by the way. So it was a lot of times were 12-hour days, right? With basketball games, pep band, whatever. So we do that. And then I'd come home and I'd still spend 2 to 3 hours on the business after the kids went to bed, right? So, I would start at 9 p.m. and go till midnight, just working on processes, scouting, finding brands, whatever. And then the next day she would call, right? Like that's pretty much how it worked for a while. And we were willing to do that work up front. Where are we now? We have a VA or two that we work with, so it's a lot less time, right?
Yeah.
Because we outsourced it, and that's so it's a lot less management. So I think it really just kind of depends on your goals, and just the important thing is deciding, like making those decisions. Are you going to be a lifestyle business, or are you trying to do what Emmerich did and build a business you can sell and exit, like scale and exit? To me, those how you structure yourself, your time, your resources, they're going to be different, right? Based on those goals. So,
well, thanks for sharing. And one thing I respect about both of you guys is you really have, that burning desire, that passion, and you have that why. You had that compelling reason why you wanted to do this. And I think for everybody listening, regardless of what you decide to do, whether it's wholesale or you're just going to continue to grow your eBay business or whatever you're going to do, but especially with wholesale, you've got to have that why, because you're going to have to blast through those challenges and those obstacles. And this isn't as easy as, just going to a garage sale or a thrift store. There's a lot more things that you need to know, but the cool thing is you can really grow this business. And, just like Hilary and David and Emmerich that I was referencing, and Dan and Dylan of the Wholesale Formula. I mean, these guys have grown massive businesses, but it takes time and there's skills, and you need to know your why. Now, a lot of people are going to want to know, what are the typical profit margins in this business? And just before we get into it, I always tell people it's not about, for me, it's always, I want a healthy profit margin, but I want a healthy return on my time. So, I don't necessarily care if it's a 20% margin versus a 40, but I'm more concerned with like the relationship to time. And is it semi-passive? Am I having to work to earn every dime? So let's touch on that a little bit. What are the typical profit margins in a wholesale business?
Oh yeah, no, ours, they range from as low as 8 to 10% to as high as 30, even up to 60. So it can kind of be all over the board. The average, I think, is around 15%.
15 to 20
is what I would say is average. And if you, if you look at that though, like we were talking earlier, it's a consistent 15%, right? Like it's over and over and over again. Where sure you can find an RA product that's like 120. I mean, it's a little board game one for 3,000% profit. Like yay, but I did it once, right? And with wholesale, it's 15% month over month over month over month,
and week after week, and
that snowball effect really helps.
And you're not driving all over creation to find it. It's a different type of income.
Yeah, and we mentioned before with the optimization, right? Once you started the snowball of sales and you optimize the listing and you working with the brand to really grow, then that in itself takes less and less time of you actually doing it, right? You optimize the listing the first time, and yeah, you're checking and making small adjustments, but you're not recreating A+ content every month, right? Like you do that once and it's pretty good, right? You might revise it once a year or whatever you need to do to kind of keep up with the optimizations, but essentially the framework is done, right? And so that's where the time comes in, right? Just like building out any processes, right? When you're building out SOPs, right? A lot of time, the first time when you're figuring out how to do the thing you want done, and then you write it down, and then you might revise that every so often, but you've already written it down. The process itself doesn't change. So most of the work is done up front. And I think in wholesale, that's what we see, right?
Yeah, I love it. I love the fact that you can get rewarded over and over again, and you're able to grow with the brand. And you might only be making $500 a month, but if you help that brand to optimize its listings, if you help with the marketing, if you help it to grow, all you do is just order more items, and you go from selling 50 items a month to 100 to 200. And you're not really doing anything more other than just utilizing your capital to buy more product, which is exciting. So let me ask you guys, David and Hilary, we probably got a couple more minutes until we're going to end this. Where do you see the future of wholesale on Amazon? Is this a good opportunity to get into in 2022? I mean, the last couple of years has been crazy. There's a lot of distribution issues. The world is obviously changing, and people are they're looking at things and they're saying, is this something that's going to continue trending up? Everything's changing so quickly. Where do you see wholesale going, 2022, over the next 3 to 5 years? Just your guys' prediction based on what you've seen and the current market and whatnot.
I mean, really, the future is within online sales, of course, but I really think that even moving forward within Amazon, it's going to be even more important to have those relationships with the brand owners, and for the brand owners to know who their sellers are so that they can really come in and understand what's going on with their Amazon sales, because, Amazon wants the brand owners to be involved in their brand on Amazon, and they're coming in with even more and more things for the brand owners to be able to do that with. So it's super important, I feel, for the sellers to have a relationship with the brand owners so that not only the brand owners know who they're selling to, but also who's going to be able to help them navigate the changes in Amazon and online sales moving forward.
Yeah, there's a lot, right? Like, we can predict, knowing everything is shifting online. Like, that's what we saw from the pandemic, right? So there's a lot of brands out there that need help in navigating the intricacies of what Amazon presents. We know Amazon is still 58% of sales in the United States, so we know the importance of that. And a lot of these guys, like you mentioned earlier, they manufacture products. That's what they're good at. They're not good at marketing. They're not good at fiddling online in a system that they have no idea how it works.
They need an Amazon expert on their side.
Yeah, and even through RA, you can learn those skills, right? And I think that's something that we haven't gotten into, but I do want to mention it's important for your audience to know that whatever skills they bring to the table, whatever jobs they've done, right, they have transferable skills to building an Amazon business, right? They might know, if they don't know marketing, I didn't either. We were school teachers. We didn't know marketing. We learned marketing, but we didn't know when we started. There's every skill you need on Amazon can be learned using resources, like your channel, but also everyone has skills that they can bring to the table that's going to fit into a business, right? Mm-hmm. And it's okay if your business doesn't look like our business, right? Because, maybe someone who knows logistics or, people that are doing the flipping in the RA, like, they definitely know inventory management, right? So they definitely know how to read the numbers. They know how to navigate Seller Central. And there are millions of brands, I would say, that don't have those skills that are willing to pay someone to do that for them. So, I only see the opportunity as being enormous, and a part of TWF, and the reason that they even share the strategies and why they're out there is because there's so many brands, there's so many people that just need the skills that you have already, or that someone willing to learn skills that you may not have already and learn them to help them out. Like, that opportunity is not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, that's a really insightful response right there. Definitely. So I know that's going to help a lot of people. And I like how you mentioned at the end, there's literally hundreds of thousands of brands. Most people are always worried about getting into a business thinking it's, there's too much competition. It's, there's not going to be money to be made, but there's thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of brands that you've never heard of, that no one that you know of even has ever heard of, that are selling literally 10, 20, 30,000 a month and need your help, or just selling 1,000 that you can transform into a 6-figure business. So as people watch and they say, wow, this sounds awesome, I know a lot of people are going to be like, what's my next step? I know you guys are students of the Wholesale Formula. And for anyone watching right now, I'm going to put some links to some blog posts by the Wholesale Formula. There's a free webinar that's going to be coming up. I'll put all of those links down below so you guys can get some free resources to check it out. But for folks who decide, you know what, I want to work with TWF, and they only open up once a year. They're not even open at this moment. But if you guys click those links below, you could learn about it when it does open. What advice would you give to people who are thinking about, you know, working with TWF or mentorship, so on and so forth? Like, any advice you'd give them?
Be willing to put in the work. I mean, it's not easy, and TWF is not done for you, you know, but we're going to try to teach you the skills and the things that you need to be able to be successful. And you have to then apply them to your business. So no matter what type of business you have, you know, we're going to teach you skills to be able to apply to that.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's definitely it's work, right? Starting any business is work. This is just it's a model. I think it's an exciting model, right? There's a lot of potential in the model, and but it's still a business when it comes down to it. And the students that we see that have the most success are willing to invest in themselves and the time they need to do the thing they're trying to do, right?
You know, it's a business journey, and we just got to get you on the business journey. Sorry, children.
Oh, it's okay. I saw the door open. I'm like, oh, we've got a little wholesale guy coming in.
Yeah.
Loves the sticker.
That's our prep department.
Is he going to be working in the business eventually? That's the question I have for you.
Oh yeah, they do now.
Absolutely.
I love it. And that's one of the things I love about just thrifting, even eventually wholesale, but any reselling business. I mean, you know, I have a lot of people who follow me. They teach their kids. They're going out to the thrift stores, and, you know, it's just exciting. I wish my parents were resellers when I was younger, and did wholesale and stuff. But thanks, guys. How can people learn more about you guys? You know, we were talking behind the scenes. I'm like, we got to get you guys some social media. We got to get a YouTube channel going, because last time, man, there were a lot of people that asked questions. Is there any way that people could get in contact if they need any help or assistance? Or I know you guys offer different services for Amazon and different things like that.
Yeah. First, if they do decide that the Wholesale Formula is something they want to work at, Hilary runs the coaches.
And the
so
coaching program.
TWFcoaching.com is an extra service that you can offer through TWF. So if they want help through the course, they'll see us. We're in front of a lot of people and almost every student that comes through.
And as you go through the course, you'll get the opportunity to talk to us and ask us questions.
Yeah, so you can get involved in the community there if they want, and even after doing TWF, if they want additional help, like you can request us as coaches. Totally fine. We do one-to-one coaching. Outside of TWF, we also offer any of the services through our company. So if people are looking for listing building or graphic design or advertising help, and looking for a manager for any of those kind of things, we're happy to reach out. If they own a brand, maybe a private label brand, but they're kind of over the whole concept of trying to figure out PPC, like, feel free to reach out. You can reach me at David A. Call, Kahl, at Gmail is the best way. And then we'll kind of move it to the business side from there. So yeah, don't blow up my inbox though. That's not, we don't want I'm having a chat with anyone that has questions.
3,000 messages later. David and Hilary,
we'll see.
I'll put some links down below, but yeah, I appreciate you guys coming on. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Really inspiring. And, you know, I hope to be able to stay in touch with you guys and see where things go. And, you know, good luck everybody on your journey. You know, if you feel like in your business, maybe people are saying, oh, I can't see a future. Oh, you're just going to sell items on eBay or Amazon and flip stuff from retail stores. There's some big end games to this, whether it's wholesale, private label, starting your own brand management. So hopefully this inspired you guys, gave you some ideas. But with that being said, much love. Appreciate you. And thanks, David and Hilary, for coming on.
Absolutely. Good talking to you today.
Thanks. We'll talk soon, guys. Have a good one.